The pool you see me swimming in right now is where I learned to love the water. But if you told me as a kid that I would be swimming an unbroken mile or more, I would have been extremely skeptical. I grew up afraid of the ocean and pools. Even seeing the deep end from the shallow end gave me nightmares. My parents made me take swimming lessons as a kid, and I got a little better, but overall I was still afraid of the water. So what changed since then? How do I find myself where I am today? It started in 2015 when I wanted to swim because of how fit all the Olympic swimmers were, and honestly, it worked. The only problem was that the pool still made me panic, but I did a few things that I believe were critical to overcoming my fear and ultimately loving the water. I will share 3 of these things. Goggles. Think about it, you want to be oriented. One of the reasons you're comfortable on land is because you're well oriented. Well, goggles goes a long way to establishing your orientation in the water because it helps you see clearly. Especially if you're like me and you have trouble seeing far away, because I clearly don't have perfect vision, and they have cheap goggles with basic corrections for your eyes that allow you to see almost as good as you do with your regular glasses in the water. So goggles, don't underestimate them. And you might think, oh yeah, it seems obvious, but most of the people I see out in the water don't have goggles on. So seriously, goggles, get them. Fitness. It's one of the main focuses of my channel. It's not rocket science that having greater strength, having greater endurance, having greater cardiorespiratory fitness is going to make it so that you have greater comfort in the pool. I said once in a prior video that I largely train for danger, and that is most clearly demonstrated when I train in the pool. I do all sorts of things like retrieving weights, holding my breath, falling in the water with very little preparation to hold my breath, and things like that, so that if I ever find myself in a dangerous situation, I have a better chance of surviving. You're in the right place, YouTube videos. One of the main things that helped me get comfortable in the water was watching YouTube videos. I'd watch YouTube videos on treading, swimming, floating, you name it, and I would then go out the pool and try to practice these things that I was learning, and it was like a cool project. In fact, my favorite was watching the videos on what you needed to do to pass a lifeguarding test, and I actually got to the point where I could have passed the lifeguarding test if I wanted to. Habituation is the diminishing physiological and emotional response to a frequently repeated stimulus. This means that the more often you get in the water, the more comfortable and relaxed you will get. I went to EOS Fitness, one of my gyms, to swim a mile non-stop. I switched between freestyle and breaststroke, and I tracked the swim with my FitBit so I could share the data with you. After all, this is a fitness channel, so let's get to it. I will be swimming in a 25-yard pool, which means I will be swimming 70 times across. There are 1,760 yards in a mile, and 1,760 divided by 25 is approximately 70. I got to the point where one of these days I would like to paddle to Catalina and do other long distance feats in the water. Just keep swimming and swim socially if you need to. Eventually, you can get there. Damn, this is my first time back in the pool at EOS Fitness in Santa Ana. Man, it feels feels so good to be back. I actually found out that the pool was open again when I came in to do the steps a little after midnight for my 100,000 steps challenge.
Swim on, swim on.
Check that out. Mostly empty parking deck.
That's how I like it, babies. Mostly empty.
I always go as high as I need to go in order to avoid the majority of the other cars. Safety first, that's how I practice it. Isolation. Anyhow, a lot of great memories associated with this parking structure, with the pool.
And that just shows you, that's one indication that things are returning to normal, that the fact that I was able to get back in the pool, have a solid swim.
Ultimately, I burned approximately 250 calories. It took me about 42 minutes. It thought I only swam 776 yards. That is because I had the Fitbit set to the wrong setting. As you can see, it thought I was swimming in a 10-meter pool, not a 25-yard pool. Woo! So if you want to get into the greatest shape of your life, there's only two things you need to do. Swim and subscribe.
And subscribe, and subscribe, and subscribe, and subscribe.
Every like, every subscribe, every comment helps me out.